well, it's a minute past 2, to be fair, but Linda and I have been chatting. And looking around at the room, it echoes now because there's nothing here. And I was just thinking back to the first ever tile that I did in a different place, in a different room. And then at some point, we moved and I was still doing a tile and I was standing on the footwell of a chair because the bench was too tall for me. And then I was sat on a bench while they were moving things around me. And it's kind of the same thing that's happening. And I never cease to amaze me, you know, what we can achieve if we put our minds to it. And just by doing a simple little tile gives us that little bit of a moment out to just take a break and think about what we've got. You know, it's not about what we want or where we go, it's what we've got. We've done a lot of work in this place. We've been here for 6 years and we've had real good memories, real good classes. But I've moved now in my head and the next place is just going to be better. So this is probably my last tile in this place, which is, it's sad, but it's not sad. So I thought, poignantly, I've got a bit of a drawing today we're going to go with. So are we ready? Inked tile. I've used a bit of yellow. I've used like the Spectrum honey pot, and then I've put a bit of grey over the top, spritzed it with water and left it. Quite frankly, I had to leave it because I got other things to do. I hadn't got time to dry it. So here we go. Are we ready? Pencil then. And what I want to do, I'm going to put myself a little bit of a rectangle shape here. So I'm going to go freehand purely because my ruler is in my folder somewhere, which is downstairs amongst a lot of other bits and pieces. It's going to be, I don't know, no more than a couple of centimetres because I want the rest of the space. And I'm going to put my lines top and bottom as well. So I've got a little rectangle. Okay. Okay, so we have got Dobby and Donkey are downstairs. They are packing different bits and pieces. John's moving stuff up and down. Not my John, Linda's John. And Linda's here having a moment with me. We're doing a tile together, aren't we? So, okay, straight in with pen. All right. Tommy's not here, so I'm not going to get a cup of tea part way through. So, never mind. All right, you ready? So I'm going to start in this colour. It doesn't matter which way you go, actually. I'm going to put myself a little bit of a wave in there, like so. Because then I'm going to do more of a curve the other side. So I've got a bit of a leaf shape and it's filled the whole of that box there. Okay. And then I'm going to split it into 3. So I'm going to follow the curve and I'm going to have 3 sections there. Okay. And then at the top edge, I'm going to put little sort of curves on, and any space I've got left, I'm going to fill it with some ink. So along there, look. Ooh, doesn't matter if that's a bit thicker, and along there. So I've kind of got curves on that side, like that, and filled it in with a bit of ink. Okay. So on this bottom edge, I'm going to put some lines sort of coming up, like that. You see? Doesn't matter if you don't get the same amount as me. You will notice that they're getting a bit smaller as I work my way around. Let's go in a bit bigger so you can see it. Okay. So next little space then here, I'm going to come in from sort of this area and I'm going to put myself a little bit of a loop in. Like that. So what's everybody else doing today then? Right, you're having a slightly more relaxed day than we are. I'm going to put another loop inside that. At least it's not like a heat wave like it was the other week. I'm going to put some bubbles in this one. And at least it's not raining. So, you know, it's a win-win, isn't it? You know, when you're moving different bits and pieces, it's interesting when it rains. And again, any little gaps I'm going to fill in with a bit of ink, like so. Just round that off a bit there. Okay. So next little bit, I'm going to come in again. I'm going to put a bit of a wave in here. I'm going to put another one of those leaves in. But notice that now it's going all the way up to the top. And I'm going to put a little line in there. So I've got that shape. Let's just move out a bit so you can see the whole thing. There you go. A bit further. Yours is obviously going to be a little bit different than mine. That's fine. Okay. So I'm going to put a line this way. See? So across the top there. And then I'm going to go and do a line this way. crisscrossing. Then sort of come part way in there. I'm going to put a line. Part way down this one, and put a line. And again, so I'm just sort of following the shape that I've got there, and got lines going one way then the other. Gives it that little bit of a design there. Okay. So let's have a look. I've got a little bit of a space here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to start here, I'm going to put a curl in. There you go, like that. And then this little gap here, I'm going to fill it with ink, so I'm going to put a little shape in. Fill it with ink like that. And then this one here, I'm going to go curl, like so. I'm just sort of reinforcing that, going back round on it. I'm going to do another one going this way. Like that. And then, of course, any little gaps I've got here. So I'm going to go up to that rectangle, up to that line that I've got there. Fill it in. Do a couple there as well. And one in there. And I could get one in there, look. A little one there. Okay. So let's have a look at this space here. I'm going to put another one of those kind of leaf shapes in. You can have a bit of a wave or curved lines, doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to put another one in like that. So it looks like a little bit of a flame going on now, doesn't it? Put little dots at the top there, so I've got space. And this bit here, I'm going to go in with curls again. I'm going to fill that whole space wherever I can with curls facing the left and the right. Doesn't matter which way they go. I'm going to come back, look at any little gaps I'm going to fill in. And then, of course, these little bits in there. And I'm going to fill that corner. Like so, a bit of ink. Okay. So this one here, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to put a loop in there. I'm going to try and fill the whole space if I can. Like so. And then one more space down the bottom here. I'm going to come in. I'm going to put some stripes in. So I'm going to do them sort of some real close together, and then I'm going to widen them up a bit, and then real close. So kind of creating a different pattern going on there. Okay. And then I'm going to draw in any of the side bits now. So I want that as a whole shape coming off. Same into this bit. And I can just sort of join them. Again, if you want to use a straight edge, that's fine. We've got that, okay. Nice little border going on there. So I'm just going to bring my pencil in for a moment. I'm going to turn it this way. I've got that at the top. And I'm going to come in just a little bit, about there, and about there. And I want to put myself a curve in. Well, see, so I know where I'm ending. I'm not right at the end of the tile. I've got myself a curve. And then I'm going to do the same here. That's not as close to the edge. See, that's quite close to the top. This one isn't. So I've got that shape. Okay. And then I'm going to join this together. Like so. Okay. Again, not right on the edge. So I've got that kind of a curve at the top. Curve at the bottom, straight line. Okay, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to come in and do that in pen. So, confident stroke there. Put my curves in first. And then, here we go. All the way up. I've got that shape. I'll come in and rub bits out in a little bit. So look at the bottom here. You see, I've got that straight line. I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a straight line-ish there, look, underneath. And then I'm going to create a curve from there into there. Okay. So far, so good. So where's my little rubber? I'm going to just get rid of those lines. Now I know my pen's dry. Okay, back to pencil for a moment. And I'm going to put myself a little box in here. So my two straight lines, fine. Similar sort of amount on both sides, or gap. And then instead of doing a straight across the top, I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to put a curve there and a curve there. And while I'm here, I want to put a little curve in the middle there and a straight line. So I've kind of split it off into 4 sections. I'm happy with that size, so I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to put just the outside. I'm not going to draw in the little cross in the middle. I'm just drawing the outside shape. So I've got that. Okay. So I need a border around that. So I'm going to do my 2 straights first. And then coming around. Now, if you are happier doing this in pencil, that's fine. Do it in pencil. But I think once you've got a shape to work to, I'm good. It's all fine. Okay. So far, so good. So let's have a look at what's going to go on in here then. I'm going to go in a little bit bigger. And of course, let's do pencil just so we know what we're doing. Are you ready? I'm going to start in this section here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a curl like that. And it's going to touch that middle bit. Okay? Like that. So then I'm going to come and I'm going to aim towards this bit here. So I'm going to come along, look, like that. Put myself a loop in. And then it's going to cross over and I'm going to put a loop in this section as well. But I don't want it to touch, so it's going to slightly miss the gap there. And it's going to come down to the bottom and create a curve there as well, okay? So I did that kind of a little bit misjointed. Once you've done it, if you can, try and draw it in a couple of goes. Just going to give you a little bit of a better finish there, okay? So, again, you don't rub out anything until you're happy it's sort of dry. There you go. So I'm going to come round and I'm going to thicken up a couple of bits. I want one there, look. So I'm going to do the same on that curl. Same on this one, look, a bit thicker there. And when it comes around here, I'm going to go a bit thicker there. And then I'm going to come along there, look, and make it a bit thicker there. So it's got a little bit of difference to it. That bit's pencil. Okay, let's have a little look at that. Okay, so remember, curl from there, down and round, across, down and along. Okay. Then this border around the outside, I'm going to start with, I want a bubble in each corner. Okay, I'm just going around and reinforcing them really. And then you can put one in the middle, because then we're going to kind of gauge how many you can get in there, see? They're all going to be touching. So we go. And I'm going to fill the whole thing. So put one in the middle if you want to start with. And then along we go. I think you kind of get a feel for it after a little bit. And your size starts to sit in, especially because we're going around and reinforcing these bubble shapes. You sort of get a bit of muscle memory kicking in there, so along we go. Sort of working it. There you go, one more in there. They're different sizes, it doesn't matter so much, it's fine. Okay? So that's where we are so far. So what I want to come in and put myself, I'm going to do it in pencil, put myself a line here. Just going to do myself a little bit of a kind of corner pieces. I'm going to get one there as well. I'm going to put a little one and turning it over into those. So you see I'm following the same curve each time. Just giving me a little bit of a guide. Okay. So where we've got those kind of funny leaf shapes, I want to do that. I'm going to do something different. My choice, it's my tile. Do what I like. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to sort of come up here. I'm going to put a little bit of a wave on there, look. And then I'm going to curl it like that. Okay. And then I'm going to come round like that. And back in. And down to the bottom. A little bit like a snake with a bobble on the end. And then I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to sort of start a similar place. It's going to go underneath, looking a little bit higher up. But this time, it's facing in the opposite direction. Let's go out a little bit so you can see it. Okay? So I'm going to do something similar this side as well. I'm going to put a little one there maybe. I don't really want them all to be the same, so I can kind of mix them up a bit. All right. And see there where I've got that little gap? It's a perfect place for some bubbles. Okay. So I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it in this corner. So to make life easier, I'm going to turn it round. And kind of, when I say draw the same again, I don't mean the same, I just mean use a similar pattern. Create something similar. There we go, see? A round little loop at the top. Around there, like so. And again, look, I've got two little gaps there now. I'm going to just do one. I don't want to be predictable and fill everything with bubbles. Along we go there again, look, one there, one there. I know that's a little bit quick, but you can always pause me later. Okay. So, I don't want to do the same in these corners, but I want to keep it, you know, in keeping. So we've got lots of patterns here that we can kind of choose. But I'm going to keep it quite small. I think, you see, I've got kind of a scroll going on here. So I'm going to put one of those. Let's do that. Look like a little curl there. And a little curl there. So then I'm going to come part way. Let's go in again. Part way through that curl. I'm just going to bring that down there. Part way, look there. Do it again. And from this edge, bring it down. So we've got like a little scroll going on there. I'm not going to worry about the middle, it's too small to do anything. Let's do that again. So I did one going that way, one going that way, just sort of following those lines that I've put in. So I've got that. Let's go in a little bit more. So I'm going to go from this edge down and this edge down, and this side from this edge, pop down that edge. Okay, let's have a look at that. Okay, a couple more little bits I think. I'm going to put a couple of little curves in there. I'm going to fill that one in with a bit of ink. Same there, a little bit of ink done. And I think it's got to have a couple of little curved lines with bobbles. Let's go in again. I'll show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go across the top, and then I'm going to zigzag down so it gets smaller and smaller. Let's do that again, like a little line, bobble, zigzag. A little curve with a bobble on the end there. So I'm going to do that in the other corner as well. I'm not going to try and repeat it. I'm just going to put a few in where I think it'd look good. See, I've got 2 in each side now. Let's have a look at that. Okay. Now you see here where I've got this little bit going on here. I've got to kind of imagine that something similar is happening there. So I'm going to kind of just put like a little bit of a line, you know, just so it looks like we've got the same thing going on underneath. Okay, let's see. Get our rubber now. Let's remove any lines. We don't want any pencil line around now. And all those little scrolls and things. It's like it never existed. Look, you see there though, I need to put a line there because it's not joined to anything. Bit of pencil. Okay. So, bit of pencil there. Let's get some shading in. So I'm going to start with this section, being that we started it first, and where I've got these lines, I'm going to put some pencil there. Okay, don't be shy with that. Get plenty in. It's fine. Then here, it's kind of a little bit, you know, where we've got the longer lines, a little bit there. Now, I haven't got a full scroll there because it wasn't really, it was a curl if you remember. So I'm going to put a little bit down that space there. Bubbles, of course, a little bit of a highlight. It's almost like a little smiley face. And then looking at these shapes, let's do this one first. I'm going to put a little bit at the top, a little bit at the bottom. So that one, look, there's the top, there's the bottom, top, bottom. Now I know we could have just gone straight across and done all that once, but sometimes it's good to stop and actually see which bits you're working on. Okay, sort of similar here. I'm going to put a little bit at the bottom there, and then a bit round that one. It doesn't really matter if you wanted to do something different with this. It's kind of a more abstract pattern, so I'm putting bits in where I think it's going to look nice, or hopefully. Let's put a little bit on the top there. Look. Okay, let's sort that one out first. Tortillon in hand. Okay, so next bit. Let's go back to the bottom. I'm going to swirl that in. Bits like that. Same here. There we go. This one. See, just sort of softening all those bits. You want a little bit of a highlight there, so clean them up. I've not done anything there, but that's fine. Now these bits, I don't want them touching in the middle, so don't get all carried away and stop to your tortillon all the way up to the top. Just do little bits. There we go. Leaving a little bit of a highlight in there. Like so. Around this bit. And I'm going to sort of swirl into that one there. Again, try not to fill it all if you can. Okay. So let's come to this bit then. Back to pencil. I'm just going to put a line in there. And I'm going to come down this bottom edge here. I'm going to go over whatever's in its way. I'm going to try and colour anything particular. And the same on this side, all the way down. Okay. Around those bits. I'm not going to do the top, just going to do the sides and the bottom. And then here, I'm going to come underneath there. So underneath the page and underneath the page. So inside this bit, I'm going to add just a touch of it there. In that area, okay? I'm going to put some colour in those, so I'm not going to do anything with those little bubbles. But here now, with this one, I'm going to sort of swirl it because there's a lot going on. But again, I don't want to kind of fill the whole thing. I just want to back and forth and like just soften it off. There we go. Okay, I'm going to turn it round. Same on this one. So working my way up, not worried about what's underneath there. I think here I'm just going to pull it over a little bit. See, just pull it over. Same on this side. And underneath, I'm not going to try and drag that out too far. Back and forth, back and forth. And then, of course, little swirls on those side bits and on the bottom. Okay, let's have a look at that. Sort of ease it in, and then this one as well. I'm going to ease it in. Oh, we've just got messages coming up. That's the first time I've seen any. Thought nobody was speaking to me. Rose, I miss her bringing my tea in. I know. It's a bit of a distance though, you know. Okay. So I'm going to use red. Of course it's got to be red. It's my light red. And then there's like pencils. I didn't have any colours. There's loads. There's loads. You could share mine. And I'm going to put, you know where we put the highlights with the pencil? Let's go in a little bit more. There you go, see? Kathy, it is a new chapter. Can anybody remember what this symbol means? Because it is in one of the stamp sets. Infinity. It's not infinity? No. Oh, what is it? Anyway, it doesn't matter, does it? Positivity. It's all about what's happening. So if you think this is the front of a journal page almost, isn't it? It's a new beginning or new beginnings. Oh, yeah, I'll use mine. So I'm going to bring a bit of let's have a bit of burgundy in as well. Is she going to cut the ribbon? We haven't got any ribbon. Oh my goodness me. We have got a banister coming in. It's going to be safe. That's a start, isn't it? Thank you, Vicky. Yes, it's new beginnings. You know, safe banister. We've got the internet working there, thanks to John. So the machines are kind of... When I say the machines are running, they kind of are. The printers where we print all our paperwork, the whole memory's been wiped. So I've got to go back and find all the different bits and pieces there. That should be interesting. Fabric printers in there, but fabric heaters over here. That's got to be dismantled. I'm going to put a bit of red in there, look. And there's a lot of products, you know, and materials over here still. So I use that one as well. And just like, no, what's she doing? I can't keep up. I'm sorry, these tiles do work quite quickly. So Lynn, what's occurring on Monday? I've got a white pencil. I'm just going to go in. Well, on Monday I've got 2 shows. And I don't know if I've done it. Well, I haven't quite finished yet, but it's getting there. There's going to be 2 new products. One on each show. I'm taking back the Written in the Stars because I love that one. And one of the products kind of works in with that. So it's a good one. Postcards. We've got some new postcards. And yeah, just the fact that I'm going to be there, I think, is one thing. I am going to go and do the Facebook as well. There, which is what, that starts at 12, doesn't it? So I'll be there doing that. So a couple little bargains on there that'll be just for the Facebook. So if you're around for that one, that'd be great. Dobby wants to cut the room. Yeah, do you know what? Dobby's downstairs because Donkey's here and they're just having a ball. They've done a bit of packing, but I think they're discussing fabrics and patterns at the minute. So I don't think they've been much use today. They shattered from yesterday, to be fair, but there you go. Bit of a signature there. So this one a little bit different, all about, of course, new beginnings. So it's the front page of a nice ornate fancy book. So, you know, have a play with this one. Maybe you have got a notebook you want to do something on. And maybe, you know, as you open the page, that first page, you never know what you're going to draw. And it's always a little bit scary starting a first page, isn't it? So you have to think, how's this going to work? So maybe doing something like this on it, even if you do it in pencil, that'd be quite fun, wouldn't it? Just maybe a little bit of gold around, a little bit of a gel pen going on. That could be quite nice. So, okay, hope you've enjoyed this one. I will do a video when I'm over there, of course, let you know how it's getting on, but there's a lot of mess. So it's always a lot of mess before you sort yourselves out. I'm sure you know that. But yeah, this is our last tile, but it's not going to be the last tile ever for us. It's just the last tile in this room. So yeah, it's a little bit sad, as I say, but not, because who knows what's coming next. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And so is there a stencil storage thingy. Lynn, because it's just between me and you, I have done a collaboration with Hobby Maker. So it is in production. How about I say that? And of course, it's going to have both names on it, but not over the top. It's going to be exactly what we need. So it's coming, but that's going to be October, November. So look forward to seeing that. Okay, right, leave you to it then. Have a lovely weekend, as I've said. If you're around on Monday, I will be on Hobby Maker. I have no idea what the times are, but I'm sure Chris does, and he'll be putting a post out, letting everybody know. So, okay, have a good one, everybody. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.